Most people think getting rich is about working harder. So they do exactly that. They wake up early, work long hours, take extra shifts, maybe even start a side hustle. And yet, years later, many of them still feel financially stuck. Now, here's the strange part. Sometimes the person making the most money in a room still isn't the richest person there. Imagine a restaurant. The chef works 12 hours a day. The manager handles the stress. The waiters run around nonstop. But the owner? The owner makes money from every table, even when they're not physically working. That single difference changes everything. Because wealthy people don't just work for money. They own things that make money. And once you understand this, the way you see money completely changes. Most of us are taught the same formula growing up. Go to school, get a good job, work hard, earn more money. And to be fair, hard work does matter. But there's a hidden problem with relying only on income. Income is tied to your time. You stop working, the money stops too. That's why so many people feel trapped. Their lifestyle depends on constantly earning the next paycheck. It's like carrying water in buckets every single day. The moment you stop carrying, the water stops coming. Ownership works differently. Ownership is like building a pipeline instead of carrying buckets. At first, building the pipeline feels slow, sometimes boring, sometimes invisible. But once it's built, water keeps flowing automatically. That's what assets do. They continue producing value long after the initial work is done. And rich people understand this better than almost anyone else. Think about someone who works at a company like Apple. They may earn a salary, but the people who became truly wealthy were often the ones who owned Apple stock. Why? Because when the company grew, their ownership grew too. The employee traded time for money. The owner benefited from the entire system growing. This is one of the biggest financial shifts people miss. We live in a world where systems create more wealth than labor. Apps, businesses, stocks, real estate, content, brands. These things can grow without the owner working every hour. That's why ownership scales. A person can only work so many hours in a day, but ownership has no hourly limit. And psychologically, this is where most people get stuck, because ownership feels slow in the beginning. A paycheck feels immediate. You work today, you get paid soon. But ownership often requires delayed rewards. Investing money today for growth years later. Building a YouTube channel before it earns income. Buying assets instead of spending on status. And humans naturally struggle with delayed gratification. Our brains love instant rewards. That's why people buy expensive phones they can't afford, but hesitate to buy investments that could grow for years later. Ownership usually looks boring at first. That's why so few people focus on it. But over time, boring things become powerful. Imagine two people. Person A earns $5,000 a month and spends almost all of it. Person B earns the same amount, but consistently buys assets. Maybe stocks, maybe a small business, maybe digital products. At first, their lives look identical. But 5 or 10 years later, completely different story. Because eventually, the assets start producing income on their own. Now money starts working for them. That's the real goal wealthy people chase. Not just income, freedom. And here's another important idea. Ownership changes how you think. Workers often focus on earning more. Owners focus on building more. Workers ask, how much can I make this month? Owners ask, how can I own something that keeps paying me for years? That mindset shift is huge. Because wealth is usually built through accumulation, not consumption. Rich people
Own pieces of businesses, real estate, brands, investments, or systems. Meanwhile, many people spend their entire lives buying liabilities that look wealthy. Big car payments, luxury items, expensive lifestyles. Things that take money away instead of producing more of it. And society quietly rewards this behavior. People see the appearance of wealth more than actual ownership. But true wealth is often invisible. It's the stock portfolio nobody sees, the business ownership behind the scenes, the assets quietly growing in the background. Now, this doesn't mean everyone needs to start a company tomorrow. Ownership can start small, buying investments consistently, creating digital content, building a skill you can eventually monetize independently, owning part of businesses through stocks. Even learning how assets work already puts you ahead of most people. Because once you stop thinking only like a worker, you begin seeing opportunities differently. You stop asking, what can I buy? And start asking, what can I own? That single question can completely change your financial future. At the end of the day, rich people are not always the smartest people, but many of them understand one simple truth. If you only work for money, you'll always need to keep working. But when you own assets, those assets can start working for you. And that's the moment money stops feeling like survival and starts becoming freedom.